Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Akashic Answers with Emily. You know how we start. The records are now open. Please say hello once you get here. Let's begin to create a grid of consciousness where we can share intelligence. And we do that by, I want you guys to type in the comments where you're tuning in from. And as you're reading the comments, begin to imagine these pinpoints of light, vortexes over the ley lines, which is me, which is you, which is us. We are the vortexes, the vortices that is carrying a higher frequency of consciousness to the planet. All right, I got my first comment on my hair. Yes, you will notice that there is new hair up in here. We're shifting things around here at the Akashic Academy. And I'm really looking forward to sharing with you all what I've been up to. But let me play along with my own game first. I'm coming to you from Reno, Nevada, the high Sierras. Geographically, we have really cool vortex energy here. You might have heard me talking about this before, but the Kundalini energy of Mother Earth, of the planet, surfaces here. It surfaces in Lake Tahoe. It stays on the surface following the Truckee River down to Pyramid Lake, where it tucks back underground. So sharing that powerful Kundalini energy with you all. I see Mama in the house. This is definitely a family environment, by the way. If you are joining for the first time, my intention is that you really feel that family space here, that you feel welcome. And if you notice, if you are a regular and you notice somebody coming in that you haven't seen before, please say hello to them. Otherwise, say hello to your friends up in this space. I missed you all. I took last week off and went into vision questing to see how I get to show up next to serve my tribe, to serve my community. Oh my gosh, was it an incredible week. I am really excited to announce that I'm going to put all this intelligence together for you all in a workshop. I'm going to put that link in there. It's called the What's Next workshop, but I wanted to tell you a little bit more about this workshop. So first of all, I want to share with you how I got inspired to begin dissecting how I show up next, because I know we've got a lot of visionaries, we've got a lot of healers, we've got a lot of thought leaders in this space on different parts of the journey. So I'm going to share with you. I got really clear on where we're at as a community in this space, but lots of thought leaders here. And some of us haven't been doing it for so long in this lifetime yet. We're just stepping into this remembrance of our wisdom and our power. And we think that going in and getting downloads means, I don't know what you think it means. Before I actually did a vision quest, I figured it meant my ass was going to sit in the woods by myself for a little while, and then all of a sudden something huge was going to hit me. Yeah, sort of. You want to take time out. You want to shut down the EMF. This is what I did. But then I got specific about asking questions. And if you've studied with me in the Akashic Records, you know that questions can actually measure our consciousness. I'll say that a different way. Our consciousness can be measured by the questions that we ask. So I decided to follow the guidance of my records even on what questions to ask. And the first thing that I was prompted to do is look at the community, look at your tribe. What are they struggling with? So I began to take an informal survey. I began to think about the clients that I'm currently working with, ones that have just finished up deep dive programs with me. I think about my colleagues. Some of you, I've been on your podcast. I'm thinking about who's alive in my field. And what I noticed is that this is a very successful community. Some of us have devoted and created success, measurable success in the 5D. Our lives are aligning to our fifth dimensional timeline. And that legacy project, that more that you know your soul is here to share with the planet, nagging on you like a little puppy, just clumping her leg. Won't go away. You totally feel it. And then we have members of our community that have achieved a huge measure of 3D success. As I'm scrolling through right now, those of you who are saying hi, those of you I can see that are here, we've got writers, actors, doctors, lawyers, restaurateurs. We've got multi-six-figure income earners coming into this space. You figured something out in the 3D, but you haven't made that full pivot into your 5D timeline because there are things about your life that you still don't love. That's when the idea for what's next dropped in. I know we've got to, between intelligence and success, what we humans who are here in this space we've accomplished on the planet, that's a really simple title, the What's Next workshop. Keep it simple, stupid. We're not stupid. I didn't call myself stupid. The What's Next workshop, where over 4 days from June 6th to June 10th, I will be hosting a free workshop where I share all of this powerful ahas. And I also want to say, all the intelligence that dropped in from the records, I've heard it all before. You guys have heard it all before. But the order that it dropped in, the perspective with which it dropped in with, I might have had one too many withs in there. I don't see my English teacher, Mrs. Short, here, so I think I'm good. And I left you the link. I'm not going to do the formal rundown of just sharing the copy with you that the incredible team here at the Academy has put together. You'll read the great copy when you click it. I actually, like, seriously, my notes, I'm going to go through my notes really fast and tell you guys some high points that are standing out so you can get excited. Okay. Oh, maybe this is something that I haven't heard before. I haven't heard quite in this way before. What the records showed me was that the record, they brought into my awareness 3 different aspects of the mind: the logical mind, the skeptical mind, the intuitive mind. And your what's next, your soul mission, your highest timeline, that intelligence, that information is held by your intuitive mind. But we've got all of our different minds. Can you notice your intuitive mind versus your logical mind versus your skeptical mind? We don't know which one of those to listen to. Well, you will now. You listen to your intuitive mind. Your intuitive mind's got all the goods in terms of what the logical and the cynical mind will miss. And then it's our job to bring the logical and cynical mind into vibrational harmony with our intuitive mind. Make sense? Isn't this good? So there's definitely going to be a focus on turning on and up-leveling our intuition, or our ability to know something instantly, which is what we do through the Akashic Records. We download instant intelligence so that we can have access to this information and guide ourselves a little bit differently. Oh my God, this one is good. So again, back to questions. This great intelligence came through because of the questions I was asking. I asked, what is the one problem that if it were solved would eliminate the discontent that we feel on this planet? I feel the emotion already welling up in me. You guys know what it is? Self-hatred. Think about that. And then the records began to show me just how much self-hatred permeates all aspects of our consciousness, our awareness. We're being programmed in this way and we excuse it. We default to it. That's going to change in the What's Next workshop. We're also, oh my gosh, you guys, we're putting together a ridiculously awesome workbook for you. Lots of formulas came in to really simplify things. You know that my middle son was recently carjacked and kidnapped. I know it's crazy to say if you didn't know that happened. It's really nuts. And through tapping into the Akashic Records, I was able to, because there was a need, this is how we make medicine, there's a need in our life. There was a need to tap in, and I got really beautiful, simple protocol formula to help him shift out of victim mode. And I see absolutely 0 signs of PTSD. He's thriving, he's happy, he's inspired, he's productive. It's amazing. So a lot of times the records will give me formulas. We're going to have a whole cheat sheet of formulas for you in this worksheet. sheet, workbook, book. That's what I want. Actually, we're throwing out the idea of workbook because not everybody geeks out on cool workbooks like me. I've got the Akashic Records training workbook here on my desk. I'm taking a client through that training now. I geek out on workbooks, but some of you might not really love geeking out on workbooks, so we're going to call them an action book. It's your action book. There's also going to be a cheat sheet of mindsets, the mindsets that you need to succeed. Haven't you ever thought, if I just had all of this in one place, you were going to have it now? All right, that's enough talking about the What's Next workshop, but I have been just deep in it. Front and back pages, they're all, I don't know if you can see how like waterlogged they are because I take salt baths a lot of times when I'm on this kind of deep search. All right. Thank you for listening. I'm excited to spend that time with all of you. Hopefully you can feel my inspiration about what gets to be experienced, all of us together as a family during that workshop. Now let's get into some Akashic Answers with Emily. So please start lighting up my comment box with your questions. Yeah, whoever sent in that heart over there on Instagram, thank you. Send some love, likes, hearts across the screen. Let's blow up the algorithms before we get started here. Comment. Just say hi, do something that Facebook recognizes people are here and hanging out and we're making a difference on the planet. Truly, the more of us that come into this sacred classroom together, and I wanted to thank you all too for prioritizing your spiritual growth, prioritizing your 5D timeline. The more of us that do this, the easier it gets. And we're definitely at tipping points. It's getting fun. Getting fun up here to play quantum. I actually had a client tell me, oh my gosh, the speed of my manifestation is so fast. It's time to really have a lot of discipline about every single thought I'm thinking because they are happening instantly. All right, light up my comment box with your questions for the Akashic Records. Again, the Akashic Records are the realm of consciousness that hold all information, past, present, all possible futures. We want to tap into them because the information that's recorded there about your life doesn't come from the same perspective that you're experiencing it. It's recorded from God perspective, which is unconditional love and zero judgment. And when we learn to tap in and download intelligence from this space, we can get instantaneous soul level wisdom, guidance, clarity, healing in whatever aspect of our life that feels like it's not in full alignment with joy and health and prosperity. All right. Give me some questions to answer. You guys make the show. Yeah, Peter. Thank you, Peter. Peter says, how do you create an epic change? A seismic event to change your behavior, something that will change your life forever. Great question. And Peter, you actually have several different questions. Obviously, you got at least 2 questions here. Everybody see 2 question marks, unless you're on Instagram. And then you can't see because Peter's over on StreamYard. All right. So creating an epic change in life. Let's start here. In order to create an epic change in your life, I got a formula for this. Peter, you've got great, this will give you a little preview of what's next, but you're going to learn this in what's next too. I'm not changing my syllabus, but Peter, you did hit in on a formula for that. Key formula to change everything. It's called the IRT. What did that mean? Peter, you know it's challenging for me to read my own writing. Yes. Okay. So first, the guides, before they give me the formula, they want me to separate these two. How do you create an epic change? A seismic event to change your behavior. It's important that we don't create or invite a seismic event to change our behavior because then we're making decisions under duress. And if you've trained with me to understand alchemy, alchemy is transmutation. It's a scientific process. Maybe you've heard of it in terms of turning lead into gold, but I want you to think of it in the metaphysical sense of changing any energy that is not stable or corruptible and bringing it into a state of stability, or turning something that's not working for you into something that's working for you. Something you don't want into something that you do want. making epic change in our life starts with a decision. And if you have the right support and intelligence around the decision that you make, then you don't need the seismic event blowing things up, forcing you into a change. Now, when things do blow in our life, that is the first stage of alchemy. It's called calcination. Basically, shit explode in your field and you got to do something about it now. You can't keep sweeping it under the rug anymore. That's stage one. Stage two is where everything is alive in the field. There's dust, there's debris. This is where you need a good cry because everything is just scattered in the field. Not a time to make decisions because your issues, along with the shit you're not seeing clearly because they're your patterns or your issues. I guess I could just simplify and say your issues will get in the way at this stage. So if you go the route of making big change in your life by subconsciously inviting a seismic event that blows shit up, that is a different process and sometimes a more intense process than just making a choice. So I want everybody to realize if you hear the signs of your intuition talking to you, course correcting you, that's going to be another part of the What's Up workshop. What's Next workshop. Julia Fletcher, I see you. If you're joining on Instagram, go check the Linktree link after this and you will find where you can sign up for that free workshop. Okay. Back to the idea of a decision. If you make a decision based on what you hear your intuitive mind saying and you do the work, your journey to shifting your life and changing your life will be smoother because you didn't have to go through that old alchemic process. And the process is great. Sometimes we purposely want to use the process, but usually we're not choosing to use it. Shit's blown up in our face and we realize we need to do something. Oh, I'm in the first stage of alchemy. If you've studied with me. So the simplest way to create an epic change is to make a decision. And so what we want to do is we want to first identify the pattern. Let's say you want to make an epic shift in your job. Identify the pattern that's keeping you in that job. Maybe you feel scared because you make a lot of money in your job. And if you pull the plug on that job, you don't have another business up and going, or your book isn't ready, or whatever your XYZ is. And you're afraid that you're not going to be making any money or that you're not going to be supported. That pattern comes from fear, lack of worthiness. You got to get with it, dissect it, figure out what's there, look at your story. Then step two is reframing your story. You've got to tell the story from a positive perspective. What did I learn from this? How did this help me grow? Identify, reframe. I said it was an IRT. T is take action. We must take immediate action to embody the new frequency, the new choice. If we just have the aha moment in our mind, and you make the decision like, all right, today's the day I'm going to start the diet. You know this. If you don't take action on it, then it was just another thought form that you visited. It didn't become embodied. So we've got to take action and then take repeated action. And if you do this, your life will change forever. And you will be fully in charge of how it's changing. It won't be as a reactionary response to what blew up in your life. Cool. Let me know what you guys got out of that. Thank you, Peter, very much. Everybody send some love, likes, hearts across the screen for Peter. Catherine Gallagher, I see you. Violet White Light, I see you. Patty, I see you. Danielle H, I see you. Danielle says, I have been told that my life path is aligned with the death card in tarot. What is the best way I can tap into this energy? So I'm going to say the Akashic Records, because for the death card, that can be scary if you don't have a bigger understanding of what that actually represents in tarot. Some people say tarot. I might say it both. I might pronounce it multiple ways as I'm here. I once flunked a personality test because my handwriting and I think my answers were incongruent. They asked me the same answer a slightly different way. It's kind of like pronouncing the same word two different ways in the same sentence. I'm a Gemini. What can I tell you? All right, so the death card in Tarot is rebirth, new beginnings, clearing of the old. Danielle, I'm hearing right now, as I'm talking through this and tapping into your energy more, I'm hearing your guides say that you are strategic in the collapse of the old paradigms and rebirthing what is new. I'm going to say making way for what is new. Really what I feel like you are more on the, okay, I'm clearing the old paradigms. I'm a whistleblower. I'm calling BS on this. And it starts in your family. And okay, here's another piece coming in though for you, Danielle. The guides are saying, but that calling BS as the whistleblower, there's a new paradigm on how to do that as well. That's not going to ruffle up so many feathers, get everybody defensive. Because even if you're right, you go in and start telling everybody, this is wrong, and I'm not having this anymore. That's one stage of the growth where we begin to speak our truth when you get your truth back. But there's also a way of communication that inspires and invites people to see something different rather than attacking and making someone feel defensive. If you've stuck around this place for any amount of time, you know that I was going to say, I always say this, and then I forgot what it is I always say. Hang on a second. What is it that I always say? I don't know. Short circuit. All right, let me tap back in. Oh, yes. Communication. You'll hear me talk about it's very important that we seek to be understood. No. Take two. I'll get myself all confused. It's very important that we seek to understand first before we seek to be understood. That's very powerful wisdom that has been here on this planet for a long time. I think that comes from Stephen Covey and 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. But you'll hear a lot of thought leaders and great communicators saying this, yet how many of us embody that on a day-to-day basis? I see so many places where I could up-level that, specifically with my kids. You also hear me say, I talk about the paradigms of this planet need to change. Education, relationships, money, communication, how we work, what jobs we choose, how we choose to serve the planet with our gifts or give away our time like slaves. Not really loving what it is that we're doing. All of these paradigms need to shift. And the paradigm of communication is another really big one. And I think that we can all take a higher level of responsibility around how we're communicating with each other. But think about the self-hatred that I talked about before earlier on in this broadcast when I was sharing with you the root cause of discontent on the planet is self-hatred that's bred and in our face, and everything that we do and experience, you can find layers of this. If we just changed the paradigm of self-hatred and we changed the paradigm of communication and we began to value understanding others, seeking that first before seeking to be understood, think of how much shift that would change on the planet. Think about, okay, and Danielle, this is cool too, because the guides talked about clearing the way. Look at how much faster the implementation of those two paradigms, self-love and communication, how soft the field is, tilled and plowed because you're clearing the way for the 5D to come in. We can instantly start seeding that land that's been cleared. With the flip side being alchemy that we talked about, where shit blow up, and there's debris all in the field that you got to wait till that debris settles, and then you got to separate other stuff out, and you got to take it over to a new laboratory and apply gentle heat. Just the steps of alchemy, But Danielle, this way of you being a clearing energy, in my opinion, that sounds better than alchemy, because alchemy, we still got to wait for all the dust to settle. The way that we can do it with love and compassion leaves the ground tilled and ready for seed planting. Cool, I like that. Everybody send Danielle some love likes hearts across the screen. Okay, Irene, you have a couple questions here, I see. Is like cheating to access the records, does it take away our natural unfolding? That is a great question. You also share that you suffer from self-doubt. Thank you for saying that. Me too. I still get nervous if I'm telling you the truth, especially if I haven't been here for a week since I wasn't here last week. I still, I feel my belly drop into my feet when I hit go live on my thing. So we all do. And as we also collectively take responsibility for and clean up the pollution in our grid of self-hatred, that's going to get better for every person on the planet. Is the record, okay, so tapping into our Akashic records, is that like cheating? Well, I mean, I get what you're saying. If you are looking at it from the perspective of, I'm fine with my human allowing life to happen to me as it goes, then maybe you don't have a motivation or a desire to tap into the Akashic records. My philosophy around why our souls even incarnated in here into this planet is so that we can experience our godlike energy. She does want to know the answers. Woo! I'm with you. I do too. I like to be a know-it-all. I just want to know it all. Okay. Oh, Soul Senator over on Instagram says, it's just like the Cliff Notes. It's not really cheating. My philosophy is that we're one with God before we incarnate into this physical form. And in that state of oneness, it is oneness, just like it says, there's no contrast. So it can actually be really challenging for us to even know how great we got it when we are experiencing ourselves as loving God, goddess, creator, omnipotent, connected, inspired. It can be challenging when there's no contrast. So this earth experiment was created so we could incarnate into physical form, appearing separate, appearing to be separate aspects of the God personality, coming back in to know ourselves and each other. So there's an invitation to know ourselves as God. And that is the journey of consciousness that we take here on this planet. Some of us, then that journey gets even more microscopic. The guides are saying, meaning starts as the bigger picture, but then it's the same as we go down into the more microcosm. So for me, my vehicle to know myself as God are my business and motherhood. And I get to observe myself and who I am and make changes and course correct and participate with other beings. So for me, since that is my philosophy and my goal is to experience more of my godlike self, my godlike self has way more skills and access than my human. To incarnate here in this physical form, I've agreed to a lower bandwidth, which shrinks how much I can see in a moment. So tapping into the Akash, and then I get the big vision. That's really helpful. Helps me make great decisions moving from point A to point B. So it's a valuable tool. And if you have turned up in this space, your soul has how do I want to say this? It's like your higher self has arranged for you to stumble onto this intelligence in this lifetime so that it can help you. You placed this in your path so that at the right time that it would illuminate. All right, Danielle says, Emily, I really appreciate the time you take to do this. You gave me so much to think about on my question. Definitely going to have to re-listen. Yes, I also recommend for Danielle, Irene, Peter, especially if your question was highlighted in this program today, And or if you just noticed your field was pinging, definitely go back and listen. What I have found is that every time we re-listen, we absorb a different layer of the intelligence that's coming through. I get to be the messenger of this energy, but it's a vibrational frequency that's coded. And I promise I only get this much of all of what comes into my mind. I only put this much into words, but all of it's contained in the frequency of the transmission. So definitely invite you guys to go back and listen. All right, one more time, I'm going to pop that link in there for you. I would love to continue to work with each one of you and share with you in a deeper and longer space together where we can make some really incredible progress. This would be a great opportunity to embody, back to Peter's question about how do we create epic change. It's the IRT formula: identify, R, reframe, T, take action. Taking action for you today would definitely look like signing up for the What's Next workshop. Again, very, very inspired to share with you nothing new. It's nothing new. You all have heard it before. This is a high level container. Visionaries, thought leaders, doctors, lawyers, light workers, moms, entrepreneurs. I see you all in here. You've done the work. All of these things you've heard before, but not in this order, in this arrangement. And I'll end by saying that's really what a vision quest feels like to me. Is it feels like going into the chrysalis as a caterpillar and allowing everything that's there in an orderly fashion, whatever order I have it, these structures, this system, this ideal, this family schedule, just let it all go to mush. And then with nothing new, everything I already have, just energy, the energy begins to quantumly rearrange itself. And all of a sudden, I see things differently. I hear things differently. There are new possibilities that drop into my field, and I can't wait to share them with you. So who's coming? If you're coming to What's Next, give me a What's Next in the comments, and I will see you all back here again next week. I love you very much. Have a great week, everybody.